In our next installment of MLB Network Presents, it's the story of Billy Beane. Not the Billy Beane of the Oakland A's. This Billy Beane was an outfielder in the major leagues in the 80s and 90s. What makes his life so compelling is that Beane happens to be one of only two major leaguers, past or current, to ever come out as being gay. He kept this a secret from his family, friends, and teammates throughout his playing career. That was years ago. Since then, his life has come full circle with his appointment last year as Major League Baseball's first ambassador of inclusion. Here now a brief look at the story of Billy Beane.
I see one of my old coaches I played for 30 years ago. It's still hard for me to be the only gay man in a room with a bunch of baseball people.
He was an all-American kid. He just was.
All my life, all I ever wanted to do was make my dad proud of me. I got married right out of college, and I found myself, I was in the big leagues at 22 years old.
Deep drive, right center field, Billy Beane, grand slam.
He was a really good player. Could hit, had power, had great speed.
And as an outfielder, he was amazing.
That is gonna be caught by Billy Beane. What a sensational catch.
But you just sensed there was some tension or darkness that he was carrying around.
He seemed annoyed sometimes and a little bit maybe angry, and I never could put my finger on it.
I was playing for the Padres and hiding somebody, pretending they didn't exist in my life, and it wasn't easy.
I think Billy became very good at segregating two distinct parts of his life.
Caught by Billy Beane.
And I think he, at times in the locker room and on the field, was acting.
We were raised in a very tough, strict Catholic environment. There was nowhere to go.
Maybe somehow I gave the false impression that something like that would bother me.
One of the great regrets of my life is not trusting this sport to be supported.
We were very close. It kind of pains me now to think about kind of what he was going through.
Accidentally, my story came out. And I never planned on coming out. I certainly didn't want to be famous for being gay.
But that's exactly what happened to me.
That runs this evening. Again, MLB Network presents the story of Billy Beane tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, right here on MLB Network. I saw Billy last week at the LGBTQ Task Force Conference in Denver, which is lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer. And the overall message was, whether it was racial justice or tolerance or accepting of all human beings, it's kind of an easy place to get to once you have that awareness. Billy's going to be out at spring training coming up very soon, going out and talking to teams. He's already talked to front offices. How do you think he's going to be accepted? How will that message be accepted by the major league players?
I think we've evolved as a society, and I think sports has as well. You know, and I think he's going to be accepted with open arms, because I think we look at it as, and you call him the ambassador of inclusion. It's not just his situation, which is very important, but there's a lot of different types of people, and I think baseball's for everyone. You know, we're finding guys in Korea and Japan and in the Latin American countries and here in the United States. So we're trying to find the best. We should accept everyone for what it is. And I think we do. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, the culture in the clubhouse maybe wasn't as accepting. But I think just as a whole society, we're realizing that it's not that big a deal. Like, if you can play baseball, and he spoke to everyone at the network a few weeks ago, and you're thinking, man, to play baseball, and he had all this going on as well. Like, it shouldn't have happened that way. He shouldn't have been going through what he went through, trying to establish himself as, you know, as a major leaguer.
I agree with you that it isn't that big of a deal now, but what, only 2 guys have come out in the major leagues?
And after the fact, yeah.
Yeah, and the numbers say that there are
And there are more than
guys
2. There are more than
there,
2, which is fine.
So I think it's a great thing. I think it's fantastic that he's doing this for the league, but the pressure, like you're saying, I mean, he was a 25th man. He's just trying to make the team, in addition to carrying this around. I mean, I don't know how he shouldered that for the number of years that he did. Very impressive.
I know Billy. I got to play against him. I know, you know, having come out. I think you're exactly right. This is a society that is more accepting and understanding of different people. I think it couldn't be a better guy than Billy Beane, who experienced what he did, articulate, smart guy, has been through it all. The troubles are, listen to Archie Cianfrocca, his old teammate, like not realizing as a teammate what this guy was going through and how he had to like hide and do all that. I think absolutely this sport will be accepting and moving forward that this is a good guy to help open up whatever has been hidden.
And in the NBA and the NFL, there have been players that have come out. Michael Sam came in, didn't make a team, but came out and was drafted. And I applaud Major League Baseball for, hey, all right, this is happening. Let's get out in front of it. No one has come out yet. Why shouldn't there be inclusion to say, hey, this is actually where we stand? And from being at the conference in Denver last week, and again saw Billy out there, and what it comes down to is we have a fear, whether we're thinking about it or not, of those not exactly like us. You know, it's just this natural thing. And if you have awareness of it, then it kind of disperses all of that notion. Think of this, where for the first part of the 20th century, Mike, you're a Cuban, Cuban native, right? Cuban family.
Sure.
You could have played in the major leagues. Why? You're a light-skinned Cuban. But if you were a dark-skinned Cuban, you wouldn't have been allowed in. How insane is that? I mean, think about that.
I think it speaks of the ignorance of the times, I mean, look at, I still remember my hitting coach, Bill Robinson and Tony Perez, like the stories they would say when they're playing in the 60s and 70s, and that is not that long ago, that they would go to the hotel and, Bill Robinson said, he went up, my name is Bill Robinson. He goes, well, Mr. Robinson, your room is over here. And you think now in our, like we're saying, how crazy is that?
Right.
How ridiculous is that? But I think it takes time for society. But I actually think if you polled Major League Baseball players and said, if you had an openly gay teammate, how much of an issue would it be? I think it would be so minute. Like, I don't think guys really care that much.
Look what happened.
Can he play?
Right.
I mean,
Michael Sam in the NFL, because the media was ready for these distractions. There's going to be distractions. What happened? Nothing. Players, what happened when Michael Sam was at Missouri playing football and they knew he was gay? Nothing. Nothing. It's for I think more especially the younger generation.
Sure.
It is nothing, and hopefully this is just the start of that conversation, and it's an easy conversation, and it's great that we're having it. And again, tonight you can see the full story of Billy Beane and his fascinating story, and you can see the differences between the decades, and we can be glad that we're where we are at right now.